Hi, everyone. I'm Mel Bouchard. I'm one of the physicians in the emergency department, and I've been a yoga instructor since March 2020. If you do the math, that means I've pretty much been exclusively teaching online, but I think it's still a really fun way to get introduced to the practice of yoga from the comfort of your own home. So things you might want to have ready to get started, definitely some water or beverage of your choice. It is helpful to have something to bring the floor closer to you. So it can be a fancy yoga block, does not have to be, can be a book or really any debris you have around your home can be useful. Having a blanket to add some extra padding for the knees and joints can also be really helpful for people. So feel free to take some time to get all of that stuff if you would like. Keep in mind that if you're working with any injuries, move extra slowly, extra consciously. And if anything hurts, don't do it. Everything is absolutely optional. Truly make this practice your own. So, with that spiel started, let's do some yoga. We're going to start with our knees bent, feet on the floor in a little yoga cave position. So you can experiment with putting your feet out a little farther or a little closer and simply pour your body over your legs. Your head does not need to touch your knees. You can use your arms to make a little pillow for the head, or you can use your blanket or an actual pillow. Take a minute to find what's working well for you. You can shift your weight side to side, finding a maximum comfy position, starting in this little yoga cave. Let's turn our attention to the breath, noticing that on the inhale, the skin of the back stretches ever so slightly. Maybe the vertebrae separate 0.5 millimeter or so. And on the exhale, maybe your body relaxes a little further towards your knees. Allow the rhythm of the breath to move the body, tuning into those inner sensations. Wherever you're at, let's now allow our arms to fall to the sides and drag the palms on the mat beside you so that they rest beside your bum, fingers pointing forward. I do invite you to take a quick check and look at your orientation. I find it helpful to have the long edge of the mat towards the screen and the right side of your body towards the screen. If that doesn't work for your space, no worries. I'll be sure to cue carefully. From this position, let's now allow our legs to fall side to side, enjoying some windshield wiper movements. Let's turn our attention towards the glutes, which are getting a lovely massage, and also really imagining your hip sockets and feeling that extra mobility of the femur moving within. You can bend your elbows a little as you lean back, noticing how that brings a bit of extra sensation to your glute massage. And let's simply enjoy these movements for a bit. Once you've more or less evened out the sides, let's pause in the middle, get a little springy in our hands and feet, maybe walk them a bit closer together, and press through the hands and feet to lift the hips off the mat just a bit. You can hang out here in your little yoga hammock position, maybe swing side to side, noticing how that's waking up the arms and the legs. Or if you want to explore a different sensation, really push through, raise your hips up, lengthen through the chest to come into a reverse tabletop position. Be sure not to let the head drop. Look towards your belly button and knees. Really feeling that opening at the front of the chest. Really hard to get that sensation when you're at the computer all the day. And maybe even lift the hips so much such that you feel that opening on the front of the hips. All right, wherever you're at, let's land our hips ever so gently and lovingly. And now engage in some windshield wipers. 1 second. Hello, welcome everyone. We're doing some windshield wipers side to side, enjoying a massage in the glutes. And once your knees are over to the right, let's pause here, swing that left arm up and over, and then walk our arms out so that we can rest onto the squishy part of our arm. Maybe it's not so squishy, that's okay too. Take your arm pillow for what it is. Let's take a minute to check and see our knees are on top of one another and feet are in alignment with the hips. From here, option to place your left palm onto your left glute, and we're going to ever so slightly separate the knees just an inch or two, and then lower the top knee. Repeat that movement a few times, making it as smooth as possible. Noticing that the slower you go, the stronger the movement is. Be sure not to overdo it. That allows the glute max to take over. We really want to target those more subtle muscles, the glute med and mid, that help to stabilize us during balancing. Foreshadowing. Great. The next time your knees are together, let's pause here. Place the left palm in front of the face and press on up. Let's take our top knee and place the foot in front of the bottom knee, almost coming into a bit of a twisted position. Now we're going to do a side plank. So let's move our palm underneath the shoulder and take a minute to decide if you'd like to press up from your knee or lengthen that bottom leg and get ready to press up from the leg. Feel free to experiment with either one. And once you pick whatever is working for you today, just simply start pressing into the outer aspect of that right foot or right knee. And feel how that automatically activates all the muscles of the leg. It's actually a lot of work. I know it looks like nothing right now, but those subtle muscles are what we're trying to target today. And the next time you've got that whole side of your right leg activated, continue pressing up through the palms, reach up and over into your supported side plank. On your next exhale, slowly lower the hips. You can have your arm going out towards your toes, and then press up again. Repeat this movement a few times following your own breath. Option to do whatever you would like with that top arm. You can arc it up overhead like I'm doing. You can simply draw it back and forth like a bow and arrow. And then the next time we're up, we can pause here. Option to hang out in your side plank or take that top leg, place it on top of the other foot, or maybe behind the other foot for a little bit more action in your side plank. Maybe if you're feeling really frisky already, you want to lift that top leg, welcoming any wobbles. Pick whatever's working for you today. Let's all now lower our hips towards the earth. If that top knee's not bent, bend the knee, place the foot beside your other knee, and hug your knee into your chest, sending your left arm up and over for a twist. Look over that left shoulder. Breathing deep, noticing any sensations in opening, and that outer left hip. Great. Let's now turn to face the short edge of your mat, uncross your legs, bend both knees so the feet are on the floor, and we're going to windshield wiper again. During any of my classes, when in doubt, windshield wiper. And as you windshield wiper, I invite you to scoot on your bum. It's kind of a fun transition to face the long edge of your mat, then to face the opposite short edge of your mat. Take your time, enjoy the journey and the massage that happens in the meantime. And now the next time your knees are plopped over to your left, send that right arm up and over and walk out your palms, coming to rest onto your left arm. Align up the knees, make sure the feet are in alignment with the hips. Option to place that top hand on the hips to really tune into the muscle sensations, and then raise that top knee just a few inches. Moving as smooth as we can. Joining the action to the breath. now place our top palm in front of our face, press up, and then take our top foot, put it in front of our bottom knee. So we're coming to this twisted position. Take a minute to decide if you'd like to do your planks from your knee or maybe from that bottom leg. Pick your favorite, and let's simply start really pressing that outer aspect of that left leg into the mat, feeling the outer aspects of the leg activate, and then allow that to continue the journey as you press up into the palm into your side plank. Let's repeat this motion just like we did on the other side, taking a minute to decide what you would like to do with your arms, making sure the movement always starts from pressing into the outer aspect of that bottom foot or knee. The next time you're in your side plank, option to pause here, maybe explore a little further to stack the feet, place them side by side, or experiment with floating that top leg up. Honor wherever you're at today. Trust that the choice you made is the right one. There's no right or wrong way to do yoga. And now, let's slowly lower our hips. That top knee's not bent. Let's bend it so that the foot is in front of the bottom knee. Hug that right knee into the chest and send your right arm up and over to look over the right shoulder. Reconnect with your breath, allowing you to smooth out any tension that's developed anywhere in the body. Let's turn to face the short edge of our mat, uncross the legs, bend the knees, plant the feet, windshield wiper a little bit side to side, not too long here for good measure. The whole class won't just be windshield wipering, although I'll admit that would be kind of awesome. Let's pause in the middle, and now take your right foot and cross it over your left ankle. Take your left arm, place it behind you, fingertips pointing away from the bum. This is a really fun transition. It might feel a bit complicated. The more you think about it, the harder it is. If it doesn't work, don't worry, I'll show you where we're ending up. But essentially, we're going to reach up and over with our right arm and unfurl into a tabletop position. If you find that transition fun, feel free to repeat it a few times. You can see how fast you want to take it as well and flip right over. Or if that's just not working for your body, no worries, just join us in tabletop, however you would like. Okay, in tabletop, we'll find our palms under our shoulders, knees underneath the hips. From here, let's tilt our pelvis upwards, drop the belly, pull the heart through the palms for cow pose. And then tuck the pelvis under, round the spine, press through the palms and let the head hang for cat pose. Play between those two movements, joining the action to your breath. A lot of people like to exhale into cat and inhale into cow, but I do invite you to explore whatever works for your body, try something new and different, and just notice the sensations. The magic is in the noticing. Now, the next time you find yourself in cat pose, let's pause here and really continue tucking that pelvis under, feeling how it lifts your pelvic floor, activates the inner thighs, and walk the palms a little closer towards the knees, walking the palms up the legs as we come into a kneeling position. This is a great opportunity to fold your mat over to protect your knees, or maybe get a blanket or something squishy, pair of socks under the knees if you find that there's any pressure whatsoever. Now that we find ourselves in this kneeling position, let's shift our weight over to our left leg and send out our right leg into a short lunge. Allow the palms to plant themselves inside that right leg, and let's simply orbit the hips above that bottom left knee. Feeling the opening in the hip sockets just like we did at the start of the practice. You can change direction if you haven't already. Once again, focusing on making the movements as smooth as possible. Pause in the middle And just like when we transition to cat pose, start by tucking under that pelvis and use that momentum to stack the spine vertebrae by vertebrae. Feel the opening happening in that left hip and allow the arms to continue the journey up overhead, landing ourselves in a low Uttanasana lunge position. Let's allow our right arm to go towards the earth, reaching up and over with the left arm, so you really feel that opening on that front left hip. I invite you now to explore with subtle movements, maybe going back and forth slightly or side to side. You can imagine yourself like a sea anemone just waving around in the surf, noticing that when you move your body, it changes the sensation in that front left hip. Making sure we're breathing throughout and just tuning in, making sure what we're feeling is good feelings and not bad feelings. Now let's turn towards that front knee. So we're turning towards our right, arms spreading out like we're spreading butter over bread, twisting to look over that right shoulder. And now listen carefully. We're going to tip towards the earth. This is a good opportunity to use a block, a book, or anything, a blanket to bring the earth closer to you, or simply come on your fingertips, arms up and straighten through that front leg. My stance is a little short, so I'm going to walk out that front foot a little bit, making sure we're definitely not locking through that front joint, but still maintaining that micro bend. And we can look up towards this half fallen triangle, perfect Uttanasana position. Option 2, wiggle your heel back and forth a little bit, tick-tock your toes from side to side, and notice how that changes the sensation of the stretch in the hamstrings. From here, let's windmill that top arm down, bend into that front knee, and tuck our pelvis under to rise on up again into our low Uttanasana. We'll repeat that exact sequence. You can follow my cues or go along to your own time if you feel like you've kind of got it. But let's allow that right arm to fall, start to sway in the surf. Maybe imagine your Keanu Reeves in the Matrix, leaning back. And now let's twist towards that bent leg. And then tipping our fingertips towards the earth, straightening through that front leg. Windmill the top arm, bend the knee, and press into the palms to step back into our tabletop position. Option to do a short cat-cow just to reset, noticing any differences in the two sides of the body already. Next time you're in cat, let's walk those palms towards the knees, tuck the pelvis, and rise on up to our kneeling position. Maybe circle up the wrists if there's a bit of pressure. From here, let's shift our weight into our right leg, step forward with the left for a short lunge, and plant the palms on the inside of that left foot. Now circle the hips, side to side, orbiting them above that bottom knee. And then going in the opposite direction. Maybe feeling how you have the urge to let your toes come off the ground or lift the heel. Noticing how our hips are connected all the way throughout our legs. Pause for stillness. Tuck under the pelvis, stack the spine, and flourish into your low Uttanasana. Allow the left arm to fall to the side this time, reaching up and over with the right, and taking those same exploratory movements, just moving with curiosity and no expectation. Pause for stillness, twist towards the left, breathing deep, and now let's tilt towards the earth, option to use that block or brick or whatnot, and straighten through that front leg. Again, without locking the joint. Maybe move that heel side to side to explore the lengthening, the different heads of the hamstrings. And now let's circle that top arm down, bend through the front knee, And rise on up to Uttanasana. Option again to follow my cues or go at your own pace. Drop the left arm. Start to explore the movement a little bit. Twist to your left. And tilt it forward, straightening through the front leg. Really imagine yourself reaching forward with your head, not curling in, noticing how that enhances the stretch happening in the hamstrings. And let's circle that top arm down, bend through the front knee, and step back into tabletop. Now, from here, we're going to take it up ever so slightly. Walk out the palms, maybe a palm print from where they are, tuck under the toes, and press up and send the hips back into a downward facing dog, Adho Mukha Svanasana. Pedal out the feet for the first downward dog of our practice, feeling the stretch happening in the hamstrings. And I invite you to explore really scooping out your back like you're coming into cow pose. Bend the knees generously and then allow the heels to drift towards the mat. You'll notice this is creating quite a lovely sensation of opening the hamstrings. If I just force my heels down and bend my back, it's not as much for the hamstrings. So I invite you to really focus on scooping up that back, just like cow pose. From here, let's start walking our palms towards our feet, just like we did when they were going towards our knees. Keeping a gentle bend in our knees, we're going to end up at an Uttanasana, forward fold at the back of our mat. Experiment with bending the knees a lot and noticing how that enhances the stretch in the back. Maybe bending the knees a little less and how that enhances the stretch in the hamstrings. And now I'd like for you to play to find the spot where you feel an equal amount of opening in both the back and the hamstrings. This can be subtle. Feel free to use your breath to find the position we're looking for. Great. And once you've got your spot, shift your weight back into your heels, tuck the pelvis, and rise on up ever so slowly and lovingly into a Tadasana mountain position. Allow yourself to rise at the top. Take a moment to appreciate where you're at. I know this is super fun, but simply start bouncing in our legs a little bit. Then maybe start actually jumping up and down. There is purpose to this madness, I promise. You can shift your weight side to side if you'd like. Add in the arms. Great chance to shake off any tension that's developed. You can slowly slow your bouncing. Come to your feet and just allow yourself to notice that stillness. Appreciate any increase in heart rate and take a look down at your feet. Usually bouncing puts them in a really supportive position for us, but take a minute to explore if you'd like to make your stance wider, narrower, turning the feet in and out. Find a spot where you feel maximally buoyant and supported. From here, let's really press out of that right leg and start simply picking up the left leg, noticing how the right side of the body catches you. You can keep facing towards the short edge of the mat, but I'll turn so you can see me a little better. And once you feel really stable in that right leg, place the left foot onto your right shin. Now, your hands can come just hanging at your sides, to your hips, out to a T, or up above. There's no one that's better or worse than the other, so just feel what's working for your body and your balance in your shoulders today. If you'd like to challenge your balance, you can look up towards the ceiling or the sky, or if you really want to challenge, you can close your eyes. Really feeling the wobbling happening in that bottom right leg, feeling that strengthening that's occurring. We'll be here for just one more breath. And as you're ready, let's release that left foot, bend into the knees, and fold forward. Shift the weight from side to side. Really just imagining that tension melting off from your back and dripping down towards the earth. From here, let's shift our weight back into the heels, tuck under the pelvis, and rise on up slowly and luxuriously into our Tadasana. Quick second to bounce, Find a spot where your feet land and feel naturally supported. My toes naturally turn out a little. That's totally fine. Maybe yours are straight forward or turn in. Maybe you like your feet totally together. My hips don't love that. They need their space. So let's shift our weight now, this time to our left leg, and start picking up our right leg. Noticing how the left side of our body, which has been strengthened from those side planks, kind of catches our weight. From here, once you're feeling stable, place that right foot onto your left shin and pick the position for your tree. Might be a little bit different than on the other side. We often prefer to balance on one side than the other. Just honor wherever you're at. Trust your tree is the right one. And again, option to look up or close your eyes to challenge your balance, feeling those little micro wobbles that are strengthening the really deep muscles in our legs. Make sure we're not hunching forward too much. Our chest is really shining up. We're proud to be trees. And now let's release that right foot, bend into the knees, and fold forward. Lovely. Just doing a quick time check. We've got plenty of time. That's great. So from our forward fold, we're going to shift our weight side to side. This is a great opportunity if you'd like to take a little sip of water, maybe shake it out. Find a chance to rest up a little before we continue this journey. Once you're ready, let's join in forward fold, shift our weight back, and rise on up to our Tadasana, feeling that flush of energy. Let's now bend our knees, scoop the air up and over, maybe enjoying a subtle back bend, and then bend from the hips, bend the knees, and fold forward. Plant the palms, and let's walk the palms out a little bit into a downward facing dog. Scooping out our back, sending the hips up, really enjoying a lovely stretch throughout our back and hamstrings. Let's now shift our weight towards our left foot and raise the right heel into the air for a three-legged dog. If this doesn't work for you, no worries. You can do it from a tabletop position, or you can hold your regular downward dog. Again, everything is optional. Wherever you're at, let's bend that right knee, shift the weight forward, and then plant the right foot between the palms. Option to hang out here, or if you'd like, come to rest on that back knee. There is no right or wrong. You'll get the same benefits either way. Get a little bit light and springy in your fingertips, squeeze the legs together, and tuck under the pelvis, just like we've been doing, to rise up into your high Untitled or crescent lunge. Knowing that at any time, you can come to that low Uttanasana position where we were at before. Guess what we're going to do now? We're going to drop that right arm, reach up and over with the left, and this is a balance challenge. Sway like your sea anemone self, really exploring that opening of the right hip. It can feel amazing, especially if you spend a lot of your day sitting, to really reverse that in the hip flexors and show them some love. Great. Let's now turn towards our front knee, twisting towards the right, maybe looking back over the right shoulder, tucking back so that our shoulders aren't reaching too far, but that they're right above our hips. And now we're going to straighten through that front leg and twist forward, landing onto our fingertips or palms. Again, another great chance to use your block or blanket, whatever you've got around your home, to bring the earth closer to you. Make sure not to lock up that front leg and really twist upwards, long, beautiful neck as we enjoy some deep breaths here. Let's now circle that top arm, bend into the front leg, maybe get a little bouncy and tuck under the pelvis to return to our high Uttanasana. Let's do that sequence again, knowing you can come to your back knee at any time. Drop the right arm, reach up and over with the left. Explore the movements. Feel free to ignore me and go at your own pace. You probably know the sequence by now. Twist towards that front leg. And tilt forward, bending through that front leg, straightening through that front leg. Windmill the top arm, bend into the knee, Press into the palms, get light on that front foot, and step back into a brief plank pose. Pausing here, zipping up the legs together, making sure not to lock at the elbows, knowing you can come to your knees at any point in time. Let's shift our weight forward and bend into the elbows, coming all the way onto the mat. Make sure that the palms are beside the ribs and draw back from your shoulder blades to rise up into a low cobra. Noticing that when you use your back muscles and don't just press up with your arms, it's actually a lot more strengthening for the back. From here, let's return to the mat. Maybe give your forehead a little massage, tuck under the toes, and press up either on knees or on your feet into a plank position. And then let's all send our hips back into a downward facing dog. Uttanasana. Pedal out the feet, shift the weight to your right foot, and raise your left heel into the air. Again, totally okay to do this from your tabletop position. Pick your favorite spot, bend that left knee, shift the weight forward, left knee under the chest, and step the foot between the palms. Get a little bit light in the fingertips, get a little bouncy, and squeeze the legs together, gain some stability to rise up into high Untitled crescent lunge. Allow the left arm to fall towards the earth. Explore those movements with the right arm and what that means for the right front hip. Making sure we're maintaining that connection to our breath throughout. Let's now twist towards the left side, shoulders over the hips. And I know this is a bit scary, it's almost like a trust fall, but straighten through that front leg and bring the palms or fingertips towards the earth, knowing that you're welcome to use a block at any point in time. Maybe shift the hips a little side to side to explore that lengthening of the back hamstrings. And then let's windmill that top arm down as we bend through the front leg. Let's repeat that, option to follow me or continue at your own pace. Tuck under the pelvis, rise up into your high Uttanasana. Maybe really explore that back bend if it feels good to do so without any crunching in that low back. Allow the left arm to fall down. Explore your movement. See if you can create something that feels new on the front of that right hip. Bring a twist towards the left. And straighten through that front leg. Send your weight forward. Maybe tick-tock the hips side to side. And windmill that front arm. Bend through that front knee. Really get a little light in your feet. Press through the palms and step back into your plank position. Option to come to your knees at any time. Heck, videos are off, so you can be watching this all from your couch. No big deal. We'll hang out here for 5, 4, 3, 2, and on the 1, slowly and with control, lower your body towards the mat. Awesome. Untuck the toes, palms beneath the shoulders and beside the ribs, and rise on up into your baby cobra. Maybe do a little circle. You can imagine you're signing your name. Perhaps with a marker that's on top of your head like a unicorn. It's a great way to wake up the different muscles in the back. Looks a little funny on the video, I know, but it feels great. And let's all come to the mat, forehead towards the mat. Tuck under the toes. Take a minute to decide if you'd like to go to your knees or press straight up into plank. And from here, let's send our hips up and back to our downward facing dog. Pedal out the feet. Pause for stillness. Really feel the opening in the hamstrings, that strength radiating from the shoulders and palms. Turn your attention all the way from your fingertips to your back, to your legs, to the bottoms of your feet. And now let's slowly walk our palms back, bending our knees generously. And we'll meet at the back of our mat in an Uttanasana forward fold. Bending the knees generously. Noticing how when you bend your knees more, it's actually a lot more activating for the legs than just locking them out, which is never recommended. From here, bend into the knees, shift your weight back to your heels and tuck onto your pelvis as you ever so slowly rise into Tadasana. Optional hair flip at the top and just flourish, enjoy that fresh oxygen and blood rushing into your head. Whew. Get a little bouncy, just like before. It won't be quite as long since I'm sure we're quite warmed up. And then let's pause for stillness. Now I'll turn to face you, but feel free to keep facing the short edge of the mat. We're going to shift our weight to our right leg and pick up our left foot a few times. You know where we're going with this now. Place that left foot onto the right shin. Pick your favorite spot for your arms. An option to hang out in tree pose just like we did before. Or maybe you want to shift your weight a little bit around the foot. Imagine that you're putting the pressure in your toes, then in the arch of your foot, then on the heel, then on the outer aspect. These little circles are small but strong. And if that's feeling pretty fun, you want to challenge yourself even more, maybe push your weight into your toes and rise on up into a toe stand tree pose. Yeah, it's not easy. You can raise up and down a few times, which is really great work for your calves and for your legs, or maybe pick a spot and hold it. Wherever you're at, let's hold it for 3, 2, 1. Come on down, release that left foot, hold over the legs. Shift your weight. You can imagine like you're a willow tree with your branches blowing in the breeze. You might find new areas of tension you hadn't even noticed yet. Okay. Let's find our stance, bend our knees, and roll on up to our Tadasana. Same thing, next side. Let's shift our weight to our left, pick up our right foot a few times, feel that left side of the body catch us. When you're ready, let's place our left shin onto our right foot. Whew, I'm already wobbling a lot, so pick your spot on or wherever your body's at today. Maybe do those little circles of where you shift the weight in your foot. Deceptively challenging, but also deceptively fun. And if you're feeling it, shift your weight to your toes. You can pick a drishti spot, a focus point on the ground in front of you, and rise on up into your toe stand tree position. Whew, not working for me right now. You can lift and lower a few times, or just pick a spot and hang out there for 3, 2, 1. Release that left foot, bend the knees, and fold forward. I'll change so that I'm facing the short edge of the mat, much like you probably are. Shift your weight side to side. Let's slide our palms up our shins, coming to a halfway lift position with our knees bent, flat back, long neck. And then on your next exhale, fold forward. Plant your palms. Let's walk it out into one last plank pose. Only be here for 3, 2, 1. And bend the elbows, coming to meet the earth. Great. I invite you to send out your left arm and press into the right palm, rolling onto your back. If you've rolled right off your mat, no worries. Feel free to shimmy back on. Or if you'd like to really challenge your mental state, just stay off the mat. It's a whole new sensation. From here, you guessed it, we're going to do some slow windshield wipers with our feet hip width apart, sending the knees side to side, feeling that opening happening in our backs, that massage occurring in the glutes. Let's allow our palms to fall behind or beside the hips. And now get a little light in the feet and bounce them up and down a few times. This is really fun. If you have downstairs neighbors, I apologize to them. And let's allow our feet to pause for stillness. Taking a minute to note where they land, it's probably in a really good physiologic position. From here, let's press through our heels, noticing how that ever so slightly flattens our low back against the mat. And when your low back is flush against the mat, continue to press through the heels, rising up into a bridge pose, Setu Bandha Sarvangasana. You can imagine the legs squeezing together ever so slightly so you're activating those thigh adductors. And now let's lower the spine vertebrae by vertebrae. Let's do 2 or 3 more of those, flattening the back, pressing through the legs to rise on the inhale. And doing a breath or 2 at the top. And then ever so slowly cascading the spine down, 1 vertebrae at a time for the exhale. Noticing the slower you do this, the more it actually activates your abs and your core. Your abs. I don't know why I said ab. There's only one. Great. From here, let's bring one knee into the chest, another knee into the chest. You can grab your shins or behind your knees, whatever's working for you, in an Uttanasana position. I invite you to rock side to side, noticing how it changes the sensation a little, gives your low back a well-deserved massage. And you're welcome to hang out here. This is all the same benefits. If you like to explore a different sensation, allow the knees to fall apart so your knees are heading towards the armpits. You can hang out here or reach between the knees and grab the outer aspects of your feet, really flattening your pelvis down towards the earth for a happy baby position. At Chio, we love happy babies, so I think this is an extremely appropriate pose to cool down or practice with. You'll notice I'm kind of rocking side to side. You're very welcome to do so. If your hamstrings are feeling really open and springy and squishy, feel free to experiment with straightening one leg and then the other, making sure never to lock out those joints. What's really cool is when you straighten the legs, your own kind of momentum and buoyancy rocks you side to side with no effort. It really feels like you're being rocked to sleep. It's quite lovely. All right. Wherever you're at, let's allow our feet to reach the mat, knees together. You can put your hands on the belly and just turn the attention to the breath. Take a minute now to add in any final poses or movements that your body's craving before we come into our final Shavasana for stillness. Once you're ready, let's extend one leg out, extend the other leg out if you're not already there. Option to grab a blanket or sweater if this cold Ottawa weather is making you a bit chilly. Allow the arms to flop out to the sides, take up space, palms facing upwards. Your only job for the next few minutes is simply to breathe and be. Notice your breath without changing it. It's quite a powerful thing to be able to notice something and make a conscious choice to let it be. Perfect. We're going to hang out here for a couple of minutes. Do not worry, I will cue you out when it's time to go in case you've got places to be. But again, for right now, the only place to be is right here. Allow the breath to wash over you like waves washing over the beach. And just like waves smoothing out the sand, imagine the breath smoothing out any tension you have. Very gently but firmly kneading out any areas of soreness or stress. You're invited to increase your awareness of your physical space. Maybe start by wiggling your fingers and toes ever so slightly, noticing if you have an extra sense of awareness and being in tune with your body. You can start to roll your ankles and wrists, welcoming any little snaps, crackles, and pops that are coming on out. And now, I invite you to bend your right knee, dragging the heel along the mat. Send your arms up overhead and then press into that right foot to rotate your body onto your left arm like a little pillow. Allow the knees to bend and pause here. Maybe squish up into a bit more of a fetal position if that's what you're craving. Allow that top arm to pause in front of your face. And then let's press into our palms as we ever so slowly rise up into a seated position. Take a minute to be with your feelings, to notice how your body's doing. And here's an option if you'd like for your palms to meet in front of your chest, thumbs against the sternum, heart rising to meet the thumbs. Thank you very much for spending your time and energy with me today. It's been an absolute pleasure. Namaste. Thanks, everyone. You're welcome to hang out a little longer if you have questions or comments or feedback, or if you've got places to be. Best of luck with your Friday and your weekend. Bye, Zanita.
Thank you, Mel.
Thanks for coming. Thanks for coming, Linda.